Hello there. This video is basically, a sign off from me streaming. I thought for a while about what would be the best way to sign off completely. A Skyrim playthrough, doing the Halo games on Legendary, basically, or a Fallout 3 playthrough. And in the end, it was nothing. And it's this video instead. Ironically, Fallout 3 will be the last game I ever streamed, because it's kind of an in-joke about which Fallout's better, New Vegas, which I think it is, or Fallout 3 between one of my best friends. So the fact that that game is the last game I ever played is kind of poetic to a certain degree. That was November 2022. It's now April 2024, There's been no real desire to stream whatsoever. I visited one of my friends last year and did a co-stream with them. The vision of Labour was perfect, to be honest with you, because they were doing the game. I was focusing on chat, So having two people there doing that, I think actually improves the viewing experience. But this is not goodbye. I'm still going to be around on Twitch, watching people's streams, but not in the same way I was before, which, it would take up most of my days, just having something on in the background, just having a noise there to kind of, allow me to do other things or just keep myself preoccupied and that kind of thing, right? I will watch. It's safe to assume though that I probably have notifications off for streams because I'm a do not disturb kind of human being, right? With my phone, the noise of notifications constantly or just waking up and having loads overwhelms me a little bit. Then I have to compose myself and prepare to get rid of them or reply to them, whatever, based on the scenario. If there's a scenario where somebody wants to co-stream, there've been ideas of doing a co-op Borderlands kind of thing in the past, and while I wouldn't stream it on my channel, I'd be more than happy to be on somebody else's to do something like that. Or fundraising attempts, more than gladly would be involved in fundraising attempts. I've done so in the past and, made clip compilations of the day's actions in the streams to help keep eyes on the fundraiser, to help kind of raise more money, that kind of thing. Been involved in charity streams myself on my own channel and other people's as well, and it's always really good fun. So this is not goodbye, it's just I won't be streaming. Now, what I would like to say is just thank you. I know it's cliched to say everyone's community is great, but mine was great. We did have to take out some people before, but I do think you have a responsibility to make sure that your streams are a safer space for as many people as possible. And when there are people that threaten that, they've got to go. It doesn't matter who they are, really. So yeah, that is a thing. It's something that I took very seriously, even as somebody with a limited reach. Last thing you want to do when you're somebody that has a low moderation level, because you don't have that many regular viewers that pay attention or come to your streams a lot of the time, you have to do the moderation yourself, because otherwise you don't want to be seen as tacitly endorsing all sorts of shit because you're just playing the game and you've not paid attention to your chat, right? Everyone in the community, hope things are going well, and they get even better, to be honest with you, because very lovely people, to be honest with you, genuinely, and you deserve everything that you can possibly get from life. Thank you to everyone who followed, hosted, raided, gave bits, gave subs, donated to various fundraising things, or donated to myself. It means a lot, it's a very different atmosphere than, somebody with a higher reach with loads of viewers that, it's very difficult to remember names when you've got so many people in chat and that kind of thing. I feel like our conversations were more personal because it was a limited amount of people in there. So you had the floor, so to speak, if you turned up in my chat, because I would see you, and then it would be like having a one-on-one conversation, or one-on-two, or one-on-three. A little bit, it's like being in a group chat a little bit, but just online. Thank you, genuine. Streaming has made such a deep impact on my life and has changed me to a positive that I will never forget this. It's helped me be more comfortable within myself. It's allowed me to, get to know myself a bit better and have confidence. And that confidence has then turned into motivation for things and, a bit of a lease of life, to be honest with you, and the long-term impacts of that, which is great. I'm much happier than I used to be honest. So thank you. You played a part in that, basically, Now, on to the negatives, basically, and why I've stopped it. it basically became like an unhealthy coping mechanism of like another way of escapism, really, and just trying to run away from the stuff that I was feeling at the time. And it kind of consumed my life to the detriment of other things, because at the time I was suffering with insomnia, which is a miserable thing to go through, really. Like a lack of sleep really does kind of bleed into everything else that you have going on, and you feel like utter dog shit, basically. So there were times that I would wake up, stream, and then, go to bed again and that kind of thing, just low energy completely. And then because, the height of the channel was during the pandemic, because a lot of people suddenly had this time to fill, where usually they'd be at work, right? That was the real heyday of the channel, like I'm sure so many other people on Twitch. What that meant was that I was doing the same thing. I had agoraphobia at one point because I was immunocompromised, and yet like this unseen disease that could potentially kill people. I wasn't necessarily worried about dying myself, but like accidentally giving it to my sister, who's also immunocompromised. I would have never been able to forgive myself if something bad had happened to them. So, that responsibility caused this kind of, right, I won't go outside then. I will just stay in my house for long periods of time. It was quite impactful in terms of like my own mental health and just being able to find opportunities, basically, because I'd literally quit my job right before the pandemic, fortunately. So poorly timed, but it is what it is, isn't it? But yeah, there was a time that I once remember streaming for 69 days in a row just because I said I was going to, off like a little jokey bet. And I'm just that rigid when I say that I'm going to do something. I do it to the detriment of myself, unfortunately, and it's just fairly toxic in that regard, to be honest with you. Coping mechanism. It was all about like running away from how I'm feeling, and this sense of perpetual overwhelm that I still have to this day, by the way, but we'll get onto that in a minute. I just didn't want to let myself feel these things because I was already at what I thought was rock bottom. Rock bottom was later to come, unfortunately. I mean, I have a much healthier way of dealing with things now. I just let myself feel what I need to feel for as long as possible without judging myself. Back in the day, unfortunately, it was a kind of thing where, with anxiety and depression, you can get quite self-absorbed because you're so wrapped up in the things that are happening to you that you're not really thinking about other things, basically. Back to the point about this perpetual overwhelm. Now, I thought that was mental health. I went down the mental health route. That never, over a period of years, that never improved at all. So we're going down the neurodivergent route. I've been able to be around autistic people and just kind of understand them to almost a molecular level without really having to try that much. It's like being an expert in something that you've never even studied for. It's a really weird thing, and I'm actually in the process of trying to get a diagnosis, which means probably waiting for about 90 years on the NHS to get some sort of autism care, unfortunately, because just like everything else, it's criminally underfunded. But the act of streaming itself causes problems for me now, and I can't do it. I don't have the energy resource to do it, the sheer multitasking of moderation, playing the game, chatting at the same time. Also, that's just too much for me, and any sort of technical error drives me mental. It's one of the few things that can actually make me angry, like a small tech error. I get irrationally angry when things don't work as they should. It's very annoying. The social battery, unfortunately, my social battery is far lower than when I started on Twitch. So, I have a group of my social circle gets ever smaller, and I'm actually comfortable with that because, there was a time where there's just too many people trying to talk to me at the same time, and I couldn't decide who was more important than the others, so I tried to talk to as many people as possible at the same time and spread myself way too thin, and it was exhausting. And I would keep going because I'd feel too bad to just take time for myself until I had to, and I would disappear for a little while. And when you disappear for a little while, I find it to be quite peaceful to a certain degree. But now that's just what's going on. It's a perpetual cycle a little bit without streaming, which is a very social activity potentially on top of that as well. And the sheer, talking for 4 hours straight, even if it's to yourself, that is expending a lot of energy compared to me being quieter. If I'm watching somebody else's stream, I'm just typing occasionally, to be honest with you. Much lower effort required, basically. And because I work in mental health, that is a social job where I'm supporting people and talking to them and trying to motivate them, trying to help them feel a little bit better. That takes a lot from me as well. The energy from that, I don't have anything else. I don't have anything left really to make regular YouTube videos or regular streams. I just do not have the facilities, big man, to do that anymore, unfortunately. So I think that's just a smart decision to make, really. It's knowing your limitations and not trying to overextend yourself, which I've spent most of my life doing, really. You know, there are so many other things I want to do. I started like not enjoying gaming because I was streaming and then I was playing games after. It wasn't more of a case of enjoyment. It was solely for escapism, so I stopped enjoying gaming as much. And there was a time where I'd have a PC and I wasn't using it whatsoever for like months on end. And I stopped streaming and then played games for myself again. Got back into gaming, thankfully. Currently playing through Skyrim, trying to get all the achievements. Started up Football Manager 24, doing quite well in that. Doing all sorts of stuff like that. You know, spending more time with people now than I used to, because the social circle's a bit lower, which allows me to conserve energy that would have been previously spent on, like, you know, trying to support people during tough times, or just general chit chat takes quite a bit from me, unfortunately, with my brain. So yeah, that's basically the reason, you know, coupled with not enjoying it as much, the act of streaming anymore. I think doing 69 days in a row, half of those days I didn't even want to stream, but because of my rigidity regarding that, I think that's probably what started this conversation in my brain about, do I actually enjoy doing it anymore? And then I then get this job, which then will take up my time, and I'm like, take a step back, and then, well, I just stopped randomly, you know, in November 2022. But yeah, basically that's the story behind it. There will be a video regarding clips, so what I'll do is I'll make this first, because it'll give somebody the opportunity of, like, any sort of clips that they want to be included. I will see them and just put them in, because some may not translate well to a video. Some are obviously like classic, to be honest with you, and I'm picturing them right now. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you join me in the clips video.
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.